Charlotte Gainsbourg is an indie pop, synth pop, alternative electronic musician, and she is well known for being the daughter of Serge Gainsbourg, who is quite a well-known synth pop guy himself. Back in like the 60s and 70s he made some pretty influential music. Never been that into it myself, but I can appreciate it for its aesthetic and the style he went for and his approach. And I saw that this new album Rest by Charlotte was getting some high acclaim, so of course that made me think, okay, give it a try, see what I think. And to be honest, I find it quite underwhelming. I think there are some really high points on the album, but overall I think it's pretty much a mixed bag and doesn't really hold my attention for the whole runtime. And it's not that long of an album, but it does kind of feel like it drags, especially when Charlotte does her whispery vocals that often sound really drab to my ears anyway. It's kind of like, which I suppose to some people could be really sensual and sexy, but I think the instrumentals override her because they're so bright and so brim and so like vibrant, and then we have her voice kind of like not really matching those sounds, especially on the second and the third track. My god, I can't even remember what they sound like, but they are so boring. And the opening track as well, I'm not really into the Ring a Ring a Roses interpolation. Like, I don't really need a nursery rhyme added onto a synth pop song. Honestly, it sounds kind of lame. And then on the closing track of the album, which has a pretty good instrumental and her vocals do have a really nice melody to them, but then like the last 2 minutes of the song, she's just doing the ABC alphabet song, like, really? But on tracks like Sylvia Says, the instrumental is so shiny, it's honestly pretty beautiful to listen to, and it's so glossy, it's so like, it's just so bright and I love it, but it's just a shame that the rest of the album doesn't match that instrumental, and her vocals on that one as well are full of life and I really love that. And Deadly Valentine could easily have been an instrumental made by The Knife, which of course is always a really positive thing because they're an excellent synth pop group. And this one again has got to be the best on the album because her vocals are just brilliant, and then the sound of the track as well is so catchy and melodic. Yeah, it's probably the best here, I'd say. So yeah, I only really took 2 tracks from this, and that's a huge shame because I feel like there could have been so much more to this. I think that the sound of the album, the aesthetic is all there, but it just wasn't really fitting with my ears personally. And to know how high this album gets on those 2 tracks that I love, to then kind of hear the rest of it and it's fairly drab and uneventful, it's just a shame really, because I know that how good it could be and then the rest of the album doesn't live up to that. I'd recommend it for synth pop lovers and anyone that listened to that Gweno album from a few years back. She's a Welsh synth pop singer. It was such a shiny, like pristine album. Honestly, the instrumentals were just like blinding to my eyes. It was that bright of an album. Like, if you ever heard that, I can't pronounce the name of the album itself, but if you ever heard that, then do check this one out as well, because I feel like you'd be into it. Or if you know, if you like Rest by Charlotte Gainsbourg, go back to that Gweno album. But for me it's a D+. It's, yeah, a bit meh for me. Again, those 2 tracks are great. She does have a pretty good voice, but most of the time it just falls into the background. And again, she does that whispery thing that I just can't really get into. But let me know if you've heard this album, if anyone's even listened to this album, what I should review next. Subscribe to the channel for more reviews and have a good day.